Augustine is extremely important. He was in a way the father of the Reformation in his doctrine of original sin, and he was also the father of Roman Catholic system of grace in his idea of sanctification. So on one hand, Augustus said basically people were incapable of saving themselves because of sin. And Pelagius, who is his big nemesis, was basically very optimistic about human nature and said that humans have the capacity to choose the good and to do it. And that was compounded in later years by people like in the Renaissance and some of the early radical sects that came out, the perfectionists and so forth. And also when you get to modern liberalism and the American spirit, which is a can-do spirit, Pelagius is still alive and functioning, and Augustine said that for Pelagius, you have no need of a Christ, really, except as an example. In Augustine's work, he said that it's the triumph of grace. It is the necessity of grace, and that changed the whole course of Christian orthodoxy. And then what he did later was to say that this sanctification process of grace, this building up of holiness in a person, basically takes a will that is imperfect and not destroyed by sin and resurrects it by a kind of infusion of power and sanctifying grace. And this comes through the sacraments. And so the Roman Church, all the way through to Aquinas and then the Council of Trent and so forth, where they solidified the Roman Catholic position on salvation, depended on this idea of the sacraments as being the media through which an infusion of grace could help build a impaired will into a position of doing the good. And the more good you do, the better off you are. So it begins to look like a merit system again, and that's where Luther and Calvin and others took off.